There are many things in this little brain of mine that I want to discuss today. Like why people are not choosing cable anymore. We all know why. Because fuck that shit. When you could just have Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, blah 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 blah, and not pay a certain price for a certain channel that you want. You know. Yep. But I want to discuss the difference between MGTOW, MGTOW, and feminism. So, way before I was thought of, most people were thought of, maybe even grandma, you know, feminism surfaced, it came about. And you know, let's be honest, the truth hurts. Most men, I want to say, all the way up until I guess women were able to vote, they were kind of dicks, man. Like harassment in the workplace, like all that. I can't prove that there was like inequality in pay wage, but I'm pretty sure it was. So, but times have progressed every single year. Every year we make improvements, and with that improvement we get some clarification. Now, I want to say in the past 10 years, maybe like 2010, you know, feminism like kind of like made a comeback. Like it was there, but it was more like, hey, look at me, pay attention to me. You know what I mean? Now, through the course of my likelihood between 2010 and today, I'm not going to say I did extensive research, but I did hear, like from word of mouth, that the inequality of the pay wage is now a myth. But there are some feminism. There are some feminists that say they're still not getting equal pay. It's kind of false. Because realistically speaking, if that was the case, each and every person in this country will pretty much be billionaires by now. Because Oprah's making crazy fuck ton of money. Where's that equality pay? Shit. Let me make a talk show. Do not let me get a talk show. Oh shit. Oh shit. She's a fucking billionaire, I think. If not, she's like a fucking hamburger and a freaking dollar menu short from a freaking billionaire. So, You know, women's needs versus men's needs, like they're far different, you know, similar but different, you know. And it's like for example, you know, a guy will work 40 hours a week at a job. A woman will work 40 hours out a week at a job. They get hired the same day, but the lady decides it was a good idea to get pregnant at a fucking minimum wage job and shit like that. And create a family. So maybe for the first 3, maybe 6 months of her pregnancy, she decides that she can't work anymore because, well, she's about to pop that baby out, like literally fart and piss and everything on that baby out. So now she gets sent home and she gets paternity leave. So with that paternity leave, the hours that you're missing at work, you're still making up for it, for that wage, because they're not going to pay her more for paternity leave. They're probably paying her the exact same hours that she was working at that job. They probably average it up for the whole entire years that she worked and say, okay, you're working this many hours, so this is how much we're going to give you a week. So when you compare the numbers, how men are working and women are working, it seems that men are working more when everyone is all working the same. But for some reason, they still feel that they're not getting paid enough, or they're not getting paid equally. Which that theory of equal pay has been debunked 4 times over that I know. Now, I was watching this YouTube channel called ABBA and Preach. These 2 French Canadian dudes, black French Canadian dudes, who are more brutal and honest than I am. And trust me, I would hate for them to make a video of me, because they would dissect my videos and they would tear me the fuck down. But that's why I like them, because they dish out the hard, ugly truth. Even though I'm trying to put the truth out there, I'm still sort of like sugarcoating it, you know? And the reason why is because, like, Facebook, they censor things. They're like, oh, you're bullying. And it's like, no, I'm just, like, that Karen is a fucking bitch, you know? Amber Heard is a fucking asshole. Like, let's come on, stop playing, you know? We're seeing the shit. You know what I mean? And then feminism, or feminists, they say they want more rights, more this, more that. And if you really think about it, women in America, I can't speak for England, I can't speak for Canada, we're not going to talk about Mexico. But most women in first world countries, they definitely have more rights than men. And here's how. You see, here in America, I could be working right now. I could be going to the store, you know, whatever. And a random female could say that I hit her or rape her. And instantly, I'm like in prison and in jail. That's power right there. I don't know if you remember my last video that I said where how my mom was put in a hospital because of her ex-boyfriend, and me and my aunt, we were conjuring up a plan how to pretty much trap this guy and my aunt came up with a plan to, like, I'm not going to put too much out there, but at the end of the day, the plan was to accuse him of rape. And I'm like, no, like, yeah, what that guy did to my mother was fucked up beyond reason, like fucked up beyond reason. But if a man is going to go to prison for anything, he should go to prison for the shit that he did. That goes for anyone. That goes for me. That goes for Trump. That goes for Biden. That goes for Obama. That goes for everyone. If they did something wrong, if they violated a right, they should definitely go to prison for it. But if they didn't do it, then don't try to pin it on them. And that's the thing. If the plan would have went through, that man definitely would have went to prison for something he didn't do. And as a fellow man, as much as I don't like the guy, I can't sit back here living my life knowing that a man went to prison for something he did not do. Yes, he belongs there. He does. He put my mother in a hospital, dislocated her shoulder, gave her a black eye the size of a fucking softball. Not a baseball, but a softball. You know. He definitely should be put in prison, but not for that. If he didn't do that, then he shouldn't go. There was a warrant out for his arrest, though. So that alone right there is how women have more power than man. Because I, as a man, can't just randomly say, this lady raped me. Like, first off, the cop might look at me and probably say, you're gay. Or there's going to be other people that's going to say a female can't physically rape a man because you have to be hard to have it. Like, listen, women are fucking cunning. Like, they'll find a fucking way, believe me. And I've watched a lot of Law and Order, SVU. Yep, I do. And I also watched a lot of Blue Bloods, and there's a few episodes where the woman did have her way. But, putting that aside, though, there was a huge investigation, and then next thing you know, they finally found out that the man was telling the truth. And it's crazy how a guy has to go through such lengths to prove that he was the victim, where a lady could just cry and then people are like, oh, how can I help you? And their inboxes, asking there if okay and everything like that. But when it comes to a man, we're just told to, like, suck it up, be a man, and drive on. So, feminists, they want equal rights. Okay, cool. So if you want equal rights, and then you see that power, you have that power, and you intentionally try to square up with a man, knowing for a damn fact that by the rules of society that he can't hit you back, because for a fact that if he did, he would lay you the fuck out. That's power right there. That's not equality right there. That's inequality. A lot of people talk about, men and women collectively, we all talk about equal rights, but can you genuinely imagine if there really was equal rights? Like, let's be honest. I can't ask you guys to be honest, but I think there will be so much fucking chaos that we really couldn't even comprehend. When we have something that we don't like, we want something better. And then when we replace something that when we replace something that we don't want, we kind of wish that we had the old person. And here's another example. When I was in the Navy and I was put in the waste. So okay, I was in the air department. There's the bow, the waist, the gear, blah blah blah. I was put in a waist. We had this one chief called Chief Archer. Great guy, kind of funny, could be a dickbag sometimes, and a lot of people were complaining that, you know, they wish they had a different chief. All of a sudden, Chief Archer was sent to the gear because he was more gear qualled than he was catapult qualled. So they put him in the gear, and then the waist was without a chief for a little bit, and then we were playing musical chairs between what chief that we could have and what chief we can't have. And every chief that came into the waist to assume control over us, you know, the treatment towards the waist guys kept getting worse and worse. And then we all wish we had Chief Archer back. So, you know, women are like, we want equal rights, we want this, we want that. And then when you finally actually genuinely get it, you're probably going to wish, okay, well, you know, I kind of missed the time where we could, I don't know, accuse a guy of rape and get the fuck away with it. You know, it's someone's father, it's someone's brother, it's someone's son, you know, but we could totally get away with it because we have a pair of tits. You know? And here's another example too. So I was friends with this girl named Christy. And this was when I lived on Savin Avenue. She was a British client, and she had this friend named Kristen. I'm not gonna put her last name out there. But Christy, she had a brother named Joe. We all know about Joe. If you don't know about Joe, you're gonna find out about Joe. Now, Joe was a fucking asshole. There was a time where I let Joe and his girlfriend Melissa live inside my house one time, and they just fucked it all up. But that aside, you know, before Joe even met Melissa, Joe was just being Joe. And then, you know, one day, Kristen she was like, oh, she's gonna make her vagina bleed, and when she makes her vagina bleed, she's gonna say that Joe did it and get him arrested for rape. And like at the time, I was like, yeah, you know what, fuck that guy, because he's a fucking asshole. But looking back at it, I'm like, damn, you know, that's kind of fucked up. And West Haven police, like, not all of them are bad, but West Haven police definitely needs to West Haven police, man. I heard orange cops are the worst, and I've dealt with orange cops, and West Haven police make orange cops look like fucking saints. But that aside, though, now over time, you know, more men are starting to understand that women don't have equal rights like they want. And then when we say, okay, well, if you want equal rights, you know, when you go up to a guy and you start a fight with him and you hit the guy, are you going to get hit back? And then, you know, the woman says no because I'm a female, and it's like, okay, there you go. So you really don't want equal rights then. You just want to selectively use your sexuality to get what you want. Here's another example. You know, you have this dyke, you know, this stud, or whatever the gay community calls them now, you know, that a female that goes out of their way to dress like a man, to be tough like a man, you know, to challenge a man and everything like that. And when that stud challenges a man, all of a sudden she wants to pull the I'm a female card. That ain't equal rights, man. Gotta cut that shit out. It's not funny anymore. So, as I was saying, men are starting to catch on. And MGTOW is not anti-feminism. It's men going their own way. Because not only does feminism play a factor on how we think with MGTOW, it's also the dating scene too. Because here's an inequality when it comes to men and dating or marriage. A guy gets married, the wife cheats, they get divorced, the wife ends up with everything, you know. So there's a bunch of YouTube videos about MGTOW. There's a bunch of YouTube videos of feminists talking about MGTOW. And then there's a bunch of videos about like women that aren't feminists that hear about MGTOW and trying to counteract it, saying that we're just pretty much anti-feminists. No, we're really not. You know, we're just tired of the BS, and we just realized that being single is probably better because we just don't want to deal with that bullshit anymore. So I have like 5 minutes to get to work. But I want to continue this later. Because there's so much that I gotta say about that. So but women definitely have more rights than men. More rights. There was no rights at all. Then there was rights. And now there's just straight up privilege. Straight up privilege.